basketball can be a mysterious sport.
The team whose logo is in this envelope will have the first pick in the NBA draft.
Watch James. Now wanted a timeout, but too late to get it. And 5 minutes go up on the clock. Overtime here in game one.
Will Giannis win a title in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform?
It's hard for me to say that, Jay, considering how loaded the Lakers are. I don't know if you've been watching Taylor Horton Tucker over the last couple of days.
But what if those mysteries could be solved? What if those conspiracies are reality? The hoop truth is out there. Can you handle it? I am Agu at _Gucifer. That's Lucifer with a G if you care, a lifelong Milwaukee Bucks fan.
I am Nick Andre at Nick Andre ATR on Twitter, and I am a lifelong Warriors fan. Pre-KD, please understand that.
Pre-KD. Welcome to Hoop Truthers. Here's what you can expect in this week's episode. Dre and I will start with our games and teams of the week. We'll move forward with the injury report, vaccine updates, Sai, the new look 76ers, and some all-star recaps. We'll wrap up with our fave picks and some last thoughts. The Hoop Truth is out there. Let's go find it. It's going to sound corny for a while, but I'm going to do it every episode, so people are just going to be used to it. It's fine. It's going to work out.
It will.
Game of the week. Let's start with that. Dre, I've got yours written here. It's a doozy. I want to hear all about it.
Man, so I'm sure after the All-Star break or after the All-Star game, we have all been bored, wondering when the fuck basketball is going to – I mean, college has been around, which is cool, but nothing like the NBA. So, we've been sitting around Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just waiting. Then Thursday happens. This is a game that's not on TNT. I don't understand why, because here's the thing, you'd rather put the Celtics and the Nets, which is understandable, but Then again, when you look at the circumstances of the Nets, no KD, no Kyrie, they still put them on national television, and they got smoked by Boston. Meanwhile, there was another game that was on League Pass featuring the Chicago Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks. This is a game that basically was trending the entire night because there was one guy that absolutely went crazy in the game, working the mid-range, working the high-low post, DeMar DeRozan, number 11. I'm not sure if people have seen it on Twitter, but there is a picture of a fan. I don't know if he's courtside or not, but he has an old D Rose jersey.
I get it.
But then he turns it to a DeMar DeRozan jersey with adding an extra one, and then I think he added a D before the R, and then he added the N after the E. So DeMar DeRozan in this game, let me pull up the stats.
If you're on video, I've got it pulled up now. It's got a duct tape red D in front of Rose and a duct tape N at the end of it, and a duct tape one that is holding on for dear life. And it's got DeRozan. It's great. I think that's incredible.
It's phenomenal. It's a good time in the Windy City, honestly, because DeMar DeRozan over the last, I think, 8 or 9 games have been averaging around 35 plus a game. And in this particular matchup, he showed every single bit of that. He had 37 points in this game on 15 for 21 shooting. Yep. Phenomenal. Like I mentioned earlier, working the mid-range, working the high post. Just incredible. It honestly reminded me a little bit of watching Kobe as a younger kid, honestly. I'm going to say, I'm not saying that DeMar DeRozan is Kobe 2.0, but watching him working around the mid-range was just incredible to me. He shot a very high percentage, good shot selections. And then, of course, at the end, when he got the and one shot, it was just flat out incredible. So this game, to me, I think as of right now, currently it solidifies the DeRozan spot as the top head as far as MVP candidacy. Because when you look at the circumstances of the Bulls have gone through a lot, and for them to still be number one, or I believe they're tied with Miami for number one, for them to be at the top of the East with all the circumstances they had, because if you remember, health and safety protocols. Zach LaVine is not 100%. Lonzo Ball is still out. Alex Caruso is still out. They were still without Patrick Williams, which they will be for the rest of the year.
He might
it's
come
incredible.
playoffs. He might come playoffs. They said that he
Oh,
might
really?
come playoffs. He might.
That honestly, that'd be great. But when you look at the circumstances of what's going on in Chicago, and for them to still be in the position that they are now, is incredible. So, in my opinion, DeRozan is number one in the MVP race.
Here's what I'll say. Okay, so I'm going to disagree just because of the guys putting up the individual numbers, but I will say one thing. People give a lot of Jokic's MVP case for him lifting that injured Denver Nuggets roster night after night without MPJ and Jamal Murray. More on them later, by the way. But DeRozan's doing the same thing in Chicago. He doesn't have Levine for a lot of these games or Vucevic for these games. He hasn't had Lonzo or Caruso for a lot of these games. And he's usually the guy. DeRozan's already the guy in Chicago. It was Levine for the past couple of seasons. By the way, we should show respect to Levine, who hasn't complained once about DeRozan's shots.
Especially being a young player.
Yeah. He's mature as fuck, dude. That's really big shout out to Zach LaVine for that. So that's for DeRozan. Also, you don't have to feel bad about saying comparing him to Kobe. There's a lot of dudes in the NBA right now who say that Kobe inspired them and they designed their play again behind them. Jordan Clarkson is an example of that, and there's tons and tons. Even Giannis, who doesn't play like Kobe, is like a descendant of Kobe type play style, mentality. Jason Tatum's another one, and DeRozan's one of them. He always wears Kobe's on the court, and he said he watched the Lakers every day growing up when they were playing. So you don't have to feel bad. No, it's not Kobe, but it's a guy that modeled his game about Kobe just going off, and that's going to look like Kobe every time.
But yeah, shout out to the Bulls, man. The Bulls. Yeah. I don't know if they're a team that you can trust completely in the playoffs, considering that a lot of that roster has little to no playoff experience. But
that's true.
They're showing a lot of toughness right now. I think Billy Donovan should be a Coach of the Year candidate. I don't know if he's going to win it, but he should definitely be up there.
I don't know if there's any shoe-in candidates though. Monty Williams will be in the top 3 again. Spoelstra will probably be there with Miami being top 3, but there's no one that's there's usually actually, you know what? Taylor Jenkins should probably be up there for Memphis.
That's true.
Third, they're solidified third
in the West.
By the way, that transitions to my game of the week. Grizzlies against the Bulls, who we're just talking about. DeRozan still played great, by the way. 8 straight games of 35 plus. I think first Bulls since Jordan to do that.
I believe so.
I think so.
They're calling him the new ghost of Chicago.
So. I love that shit, man. Hey, what a career arc for DeMar DeRozan. It's something about him being in the East, man. It always works out for him. But he lost. The Bulls lost by 6, 116-110 to the Grizzlies, who are just monstrous this year, man. And led by a monster in John Moran, who dropped the franchise record, the number 1 points in Memphis Grizzlies history, 46. And he's going to get a 50-burger at some point. We all know it.
Without question.
Dude is scoring all over the floor. He's got the inside game, the outside game. Floaters are hitting, and if you give him any kind of space, he dunks it right over you. I can't get enough of the Grizzlies. Taylor Jenkins is a Budenholzer guy. He comes from that coaching tree, so I'm always going to root for that. But likable roster all around, and they're third. They're cemented third in the Western Conference. Let me take a quick look at this. I want to see who they'd play in the first round because that's a playoff team, not a play-in team. They'd play the Nuggets right now. That would be a monstrous matchup because why don't we go ahead and do team of the weeks real quick because we're going to go back to the Nuggets in a second with some really interesting news. But team of the week, I can start with mine because I'm not super happy about it, to be fully honest, but it is really fun to see the James Harden Philadelphia 76ers are 2-0 since Harden has played. He had 29, 10, and 16 in today's game, a triple-double. And I think there still are concerns with the roster, but a lot of our takes, everyone's, not just ours, even though ours were wrong. I'm not trying to absolve us from that, I promise. But a lot of our takes were just straight up wrong. Harden and Embiid are going to have no issue in the pick and roll. It already doesn't matter. They're going to be great in the pick and roll. And it's unstoppable. It's already unstoppable. And some people, including myself, had questions about it. But the thing that I really thought wasn't going to happen that is fine is that Harden and Maxey are coexisting in the backcourt like really well. Not just well.
That was
really,
something
really
I
well.
did not expect at all.
He's making him look like a little Kyrie because that fit worked in Brooklyn. And he's got him playing the same kind of role. What have you seen from the Sixers so far, dude? I've been pretty excited about it.
Basically that it's just always so funny though, because anytime Harden gets traded, there's like so much shit talk. I think people, I mean, even though I get it, Harden is someone that is hard to understand. I can understand that, but we got to stop downplaying that this guy can really play basketball at a high level. When James Harden is on the floor, he's going to look to give it his all. I know he didn't have really the best season in Brooklyn this year, so he had a lot of ups and downs. But now that he's in a new atmosphere, he's playing under Doc Rivers, he's playing alongside a guy like Embiid. The ball is more in his hands more because now he is the primary playmaker. I mean, not saying that he wasn't in Brooklyn, but now he is the primary guy really handling the rock out there in Philly. And in that first game against Minnesota, it was just flat out incredible. Like, I mean, basically what you mentioned earlier, I want to reiterate it, Harden and Embiid working the pick and roll to perfection. And we don't even know how much practice time these guys even had,
Right.
Like, so it's just flat out incredible to really see it. I think he had like 27 and 12 that game, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. But it's just flat out incredible to see like the way Harden has been playing so far in Philly. And I mean, even the New York game this Sunday afternoon, like, just watching him go to work, watching Embiid somehow get like 25, 26 free throw attempts throughout this game. Like, I don't know, like Philly's a team that we might have to look out for. I know people are looking at Brooklyn, they're looking at Milwaukee, Miami, Chicago, but Philly is right there. They're right there. And I mean, I even said that even even if they would go the whole season without Ben Simmons, they will still be like at least like a fourth or fifth seed in the East.
Because they just added, like they didn't subtract anything. Seth Curry's big, but that's all they really subtracted, dude.
That's true.
They replaced him with James fucking Harden. It's James fucking Harden.
Exactly. So now that they got an all-star or a future Hall of Fame guy like Harden, I will say it's scary hours in Philly. It's gonna be scary hours. I don't know.
Jinx them though. Don't jinx them though.
I'm not gonna jinx them because here's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, in the playoffs, anything can happen. But if they do continue to play like this, a lot of teams in the East are gonna have some issues. I'm not saying that Philly's gonna get by those teams, but it's not gonna be as easy as people expect.
And listen, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, Cleveland. Oh my God,
Boston,
we forgot Cleveland.
Like 2 of those
the
teams
East is
are gonna
loaded.
have to lose in the first round. Like 2 of those people are going home in the first round. Seeding is going to be important. I can't bear to watch these teams just blow games because seeding is going to be so important this year for the Eastern Conference. Real quick, Harden with 29, Embiid with 37, Maxey with 21, and a plus 23 in the game. The one thing I will say, though, is that Tobias has been still a little shitty. He's been a little shitty this year where he's on and he's off, but he's off a lot.
That's just basic Tobias Harris.
Yeah, but he wasn't always. I think they keep encouraging him to shoot more threes. I see there's a few people I follow on Sixers Twitter that I try to get some sense of it. Not saying that I'm like fully ingrained by it by any means because I'm not. Real Hooper Piltrill, good podcast. His Twitter is great. Following that for the Harden trade was just great, fucking awesome. I can't believe I just called a Twitter account fucking awesome. I really feel bad about that. But I'm going to move on. And that's my team of the week, though. I'm excited to see more. I saw a tweet today that said the only things that can stop the Philadelphia 76ers are the Milwaukee Bucks and Doc Rivers. And just ignoring the Milwaukee Bucks part, it doesn't matter. I'm a homer. But it's true. Doc Rivers could seriously fuck this up, man. He could. We'll see it.
That's a fact.
That's it. Dre, what was your team of the week? Then we can get on to some other stuff.
I'm going to go with this team because, well, basically it's the same team that my partner did in our last episode. I'm going to piggyback off of that because even though they went 2-1 over these past 3 games, they're getting better. They're honestly getting better, and they are improving game by game. And that is the Boston Celtics, led by guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, you name it. I read a stat after the Derek White trade. I think they're 4-1 since, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I saw that stat on Twitter. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that they are playing great basketball. Shout out to Ime Udoka, putting them in great positions. Honestly, I have been concerned about the Celtics for a little while now because I just felt like they didn't have enough to really, Tatum and Brown are Tatum and Brown, but like just looking at their supporting cast and their depth. Not saying that they don't have good players, because I love guys like Robert Williams. I love guys like Romeo Langford. I love guys like like of that caliber. But would it be enough to beat a healthy Milwaukee, a healthy Brooklyn?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just never thought that Boston had enough. But over these last maybe 10, 11 games, prior to the All-Star break and now moving forward now, I know they beat a depleted Brooklyn team. I mean, we know that. I know they blew out Brooklyn.
Beat the shit out of them, too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it
was the scrubs, but they treated them like scrubs. It's fine.
Exactly. So we know they beat a depleted Brooklyn team, and we know that they beat Detroit. But it's still a good step in the right direction. Tatum's having a solid year, like I said. Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder now, considering that he didn't get into the All-Star game. So I definitely like that from him.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what Boston has going forward.
There's an All-Star last year, not this year. Boston's really interesting. I think they traded Romeo Langford at the deadline, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But no, they're playing a lot of defense. Like, if you trot out Derek with Smart and Jaylen and Jason and Rob, it's going to be really hard to score on that. And you could give team, like, they're not going to be a sweep in the playoffs. We thought they were going to be a sweep in the playoffs earlier this year. We thought they would make the playoffs like the 6th or 7th seed, 8th seed, and just like they did last year, and win one game against a super loaded team. I think you have to take this team to 6 at this point, especially in the home games. That home team is usually really good. I've seen several Milwaukee-Boston series beyond the one that we just the Kyrie Irving year was a special year. It was a special year for you guys and for us. Appreciate that. Mm-hmm. But it's usually tough to win in that building, man. And they're going to have the defense. If the shooting shows up, which Jason has shown up for the playoffs in some games, dropped 50 last year to win the only game against Brooklyn. Not that it super matters, but it's a showing. It's something. Really interesting to see what they do come playoff times. And this team, I didn't have a transition. I thought about it, but no. This team in the East, contender, might be having a player back very soon. We've all heard about the Kyrie Irving saga this year where he has refused. Well, that Twitter link just doesn't work anymore. That's fine. Where he's just refused the vaccine. And that's, at this point, it's a conversation that we've had a million times, and I'm not going to rehash it now. Listen to any podcast about the Kyrie Irving situation, and you'll get all the politics about it. The fact of the matter is he's not getting it, and he's missing half of his games. And some people aren't a huge fan of that. I'm not like a massive fan of it. Not that I'd super discourage that. I'm not a huge fan of the reason behind it, but whatever. But the mayor has talked about phasing out the mandate that they have, and they have gotten something that they've approved. What was tweeted? Actually, okay. So here's the tweet. They're taking back the mandate for a lot of public employees for the city of New York, but I think the private sector is still mandated that you have to. So Kyrie still can't play in home games, but it's loosening the rules overall that may lead to him being able to play in the near future. That's what their people are theorizing, at least online. The reason that Twitter link didn't work like 30 seconds ago was because there was a previous Woj tweet where he worded it like he was coming back, like it was fully done and he was coming back. And apparently that was like misinformation because I saw some people complain about it online. So he deleted the tweet. That's so funny. Oh my God. Anyways, all that really means is that Kyrie is coming back potentially in the near future. I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in March it happened. Whether we are fans of it or not, it was always probably going to happen. I think they knew that. So he's going to get what he wants and be able to play full time. And they look pretty scary. I mean, they beat the Bucks yesterday without KD. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, let's discuss it. I'm sure everyone knows that the Bucks were the clear favorites in yesterday's matchup, which honestly was crazy to me because I'm watching the game, Milwaukee's dominating, and then Brooklyn just goes crazy in the third quarter, practically led by Kyrie Irving and
Have
a
you
few other
watched
guys as
Milwaukee
well.
this year? We're the worst third quarter team in the
Yeah,
league.
I was honestly gonna say that I didn't know if that was like for sure, but I know
It's
the Bucks
for
can
sure,
sometimes
man.
slip.
All-Star break didn't fix it. Fucking apparently. It's really rough. It's really rough. Keep going. Sorry.
It is rough, but basically, basically the majority of that game, Kyrie definitely had a great showing. I definitely thought the refs were shitty though as well. The refs were making some shitty ass calls, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. But basically, like when you look at that team with Kyrie leading the way, and then you still have Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant still in street clothes. It basically shows that this team healthy can really make some damage happen. And I know how we mentioned earlier that they basically like how Philly basically gave up Seth Curry to get James Harden. I get it, like what I'm saying, like that's easily a win for Philly when you think about it when you compare the two players. But I like Seth Curry on this team. I really like Seth Curry.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like he's a great compliment in the backcourt alongside Kyrie. If they do allow him to play the home games like very, very soon, I think that'll be a great. Well, actually, hang on. Let's go back. So, what will the lineup look like for Brooklyn when fully healthy?
Fully healthy, I think you're doing Steph or Kyrie with Seth, with Simmons, with KD, and I think they're going to do Drummond at the 5 there. Maybe they do
honestly like
LaMarcus
that
instead, but to get some more shooting in there, they might do LaMarcus. I don't think they'd start Simmons at center. I do expect them to play a lot of Simmons at center during the game, but not starting it.
Okay. Honestly, I'm more of a fan of Drummond starting at the center position just because he's been pretty impressive for Brooklyn so far throughout these few games. But then again, I do understand with the whole spacing and everything that Aldridge will probably be a better option. But
for spacing,
right. So, but I mean, honestly, like when you look at the whole dynamic of this team, honestly, like I think Kyrie missing those home games in the playoffs will play a huge role if he wouldn't be able to, just because I don't know, it's like you still have a lot of great options scoring wise when you have guys like Kevin Durant, Seth Curry, even Cam Thomas whenever he's out there. So I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of weapons as far as scoring wise, but I don't know. It's like, I think Kyrie, even though a lot of people hate him, I think he's a great compliment on the floor, like when everyone's together. So that's why honestly I am happy about the rule, even though it does, like I think as of right now it does restrict Kyrie from actually playing home games at the moment. But if they can make it happen, that'll be big for them.
It would be really cool. And really quick on the Drummond thing, before we move on to the Simmons thing, it's a little bit of a Nets segment. I didn't really intend for that. Sorry. But I saw people talking about how the market for the traditional centers in the offseason is going to be higher than it's been in years. Because now you've got teams that are rolling out Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and Giannis and Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, all these big men that are so skilled that if you just need guys that can guard them, or at least throw a body at them for a while. And that's big guys, maybe that's why Chicago went out and got Tristan Thompson the other night. He airballed a free throw, but I think he did okay. I saw some Bulls fans saying he did what he needed to do as a backup center. You might just need these guys again. And you got DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix, but Golden State is going the opposite way. We'll see if it works out for them. Anyways, that was a tangent. Let's move on to Ben Simmons. All right, we've got more news on the return of Ben Simmons. From Shams, Nets star Ben Simmons is dealing with back soreness in reconditioning process that requires further strengthening of the area over a period of time before return to action. A lot of filler words in there for no fucking reason, Shams, but he does a lot for clicks. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. He's 27 and he's doing that. I have no reason to fucking.
I just started randomly thinking about the Shams like lunch tweets.
Yeah, no, that's just fucking hilarious. That's how you should use Twitter, though. If you're a kid, that's exactly how you should use Twitter. Ben Simmons is supposed to be out for at least, ironically, the return trip to Philly. So my question is, do you think he is dealing with soreness in his recovery, or is he trying to avoid Philadelphia?
I think it's a combination of both, honestly, when you think about the situation. Fair. But it makes me go back to this, though, because all year everybody has been complaining about Ben Simmons not being on the court and everything. And I've always questioned, even before the trade, I'm like, is Ben Simmons even ready physically to play again? Like, I think we all just assumed that, he was just going to come back and just do what he can, and that he was just really just ducking everything. I mean, which he was. I mean, he was ducking playing in Philadelphia. I mean, we're not gonna downplay that, but I was always questioning, like, what I'm saying? Like, just because he got traded to Brooklyn, I kind of knew that he wasn't just going to up and play just because we don't know if he's physically in shape. Like, what I'm saying? I mean, he may look like it, but, he may not be in the condition that he needs to be.
Right.
So now he comes out with this back soreness, and I'm like, yo, like, this guy has not played in, like, fucking 9 months. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you all of a sudden having injuries and you haven't touched an NBA court since, like, what, June of 2021? Like, come on, bro. But it could be a combination of that because the Nets and the Sixers do play on March 10th.
Yep.
I believe it is in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, it is.
So we all know going into that game, Ben Simmons is going to hear it from the crowd. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But here's the thing: like, you can't duck it forever because eventually you're going to have to play there. Eventually you're going to have to.
Not really, dude. Like, there's load management. You can just do it.
I mean, that's true, but
if he wants, they don't care.
So let's say, for instance, so let's say, for instance, the Nets and the Sixers meet in the postseason. Like, how do you duck that? Like, what I'm saying? Like, you can't.
No, you gotta get over it. He'll probably have a terrible game, and hey, I'll clip that if I get it wrong. That's fine. That'd be great if he played incredible against Philadelphia in the playoffs. That'd be awesome. That'd be that'd be a great day on Twitter.
But yeah, I mean, it could be a combination of that. I don't know if Ben Simmons is ready. I don't think it's good to really downplay his mental health because, I mean, if he is going through something, then, I'm definitely happy that he is getting the help. So that might play a role in why he doesn't actually want to go to Philly. So this may be an issue, but, hopefully Ben Simmons can get healthy. Hopefully he can be available because, he's on a new team. He got what he wanted. You know what I'm saying? He's not in Philly no more. He's on a new team that is still a contender. So now the best thing for him is to be available.
I would like to see. It sucks because March 10th, I don't think KD will be back by then. So then no Simmons either. So it'll be the new Sixers against like some depleted Nets team. It'll still be a fun watch, I guess. But
so the question would be, like, if he didn't play, would he still be sitting on the sidelines?
He already is.
Like on the bench.
Oh, you mean like he would just skip that game? I mean, he is now. I would have to assume he would. Like, I don't think
because that's the thing. Like, even if he does walk out, he's still gonna get booed. Because the thing, like that, like they are waiting on Ben Simmons. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
it's not gonna affect his play, so I don't think he cares that much.
Right.
I think it's okay at that point. Man,
I don't know.
What a weird thing this is gonna be. It's so dramatic. It's such an NBA soap opera thing. I love that shit.
But you know what? Like, it reminds me of like all like the past years. Like, I remember LeBron's first game back in Cleveland when he was in Miami, and they were horrible to him. Like, every time he touched the ball, it was straight boos. And like apparently people were like throwing batteries and stuff. Like, I didn't even know that happened. And I watched the game live. I didn't even know that happened.
Like, I don't want to make people angry in Cleveland at all. That probably sounds like a bad idea considering Cleveland. So, let alone a stadium full of people. That's not awesome to walk into. Big shouts to Braun, I guess, to never do anything. He got that one lady kicked out of that game in Atlanta. But that's like the only thing
Oh,
he's ever
yeah.
done to a fan.
Of course,
That's so
Karen.
funny. That was so funny.
She deserved it.
She did. Anyways, let's move on to the injury report. We're gonna do good news, bad news, starting with bad news. Just to try and spice it up. As I don't want to just say a bunch of like sad stuff in a row for the injuries. But we'll start with the bad one. Get the Band-Aid off. Anthony Davis, who just came back and truthfully was playing really well for the Lakers. Not that they would turn their season around, but if they were going to, it would really depend on him continuing to play like that. And he hurt his ankle and looked pretty bad, like all Anthony Davis injuries do. They always look really bad. Out another 4 to 5 weeks, reportedly. Not fully confirmed, but reportedly it's supposed to be another 4 to 5 weeks. And like the All-Star break was supposed to get them healthy. He's done, and then he has to work his way back. And the thing is, they can't just rest him for the season and hope for a draft pick because New Orleans gets their pick this year for the Zion trade or the Anthony Davis trade. So they're probably going to have to try and rush him back, and he's probably going to get hurt again. I just feel so terrible about this and Anthony Davis, and I hope he plays in the playoffs or even before that, and it looks great. But it's a long line of injuries for Anthony Davis, Trey. How do you feel about it?
Everything that can go wrong for the Lakers has went wrong this year. Like,
yeah.
I really cannot imagine being a fan. Like, because I mean, it's basically what you mentioned. Like, Anthony Davis came back and he was looking fantastic.
Yeah,
he was looking really good. Not saying that the Lakers, like not saying that the Lakers were back on the right track, but when you have AD on the floor being able to play his style and be able to dominate the way that he does, that takes the team to another level. Now they got to be without him for about another month or so, which is hard now because now LeBron doesn't have a right-hand man. So now who is the true Lakers second option now? Is it Malik Monk? Possibly. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
you're going to be Russ again?
I wouldn't bank on it.
We haven't talked about Russ in like weeks, man. That's kind of sad.
Have not.
Huh?
We have not. I mean, there's really nothing to talk about with him.
Because if he was playing well, we'd be talking about him.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, we
haven't talked about him in weeks.
I mean,
that's way more important things. Man, I do like Russ. Like he seems like a cool dude by all accounts.
Russ is a great player. Russ, and that's the thing as well, though, is that I think I don't want his bad season to like overshadow like what he's done in his career. Like, you know what I'm saying? Russ has done a lot of great things. He's the triple-double king. He's an MVP. Russ has done a lot of great. So I don't want people to look at this year and say, oh, he sucks. Because, I mean, honestly, he has sucked this year. I mean, like, I don't think we can downplay it. He has sucked this year. But besides that, he's had a pretty good career. But I even said it earlier in the year that I don't think LeBron and Russell Westbrook are going to work out. And Lakers Twitter got on my ass about that. And now look, we're almost in March and nothing has improved. So
yeah, well, not even Lakers Twitter. LeBron was at everyone's ass for saying it at the beginning of the year. That tweet that everyone talks about, like keep that same energy. He deleted it within 30 minutes, and there's still thousands of screenshots out there.
Oh yeah,
he really fucked up with that one, Washed King.
But honestly, it just sucks for Anthony Davis because he's just a player that just cannot stay healthy. I remember shout out to my guy Aaron. Shout out to my guy Aaron Washington at Unwrapped. I remember we did a show on Count the Bucket. And, a lot of guys do fantasy basketball. He said that he would not pick Anthony Davis because you just can't trust him. And at the time I was like, damn, bro, like that's kind of harsh. But at the end of the day, he's right. He's right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine having Anthony Davis on your fantasy team and then he comes back for like 2 to 3 weeks. Yes, shout out to Count the Bucket. Follow us at Count Bucket USN. That is the other live stream that I do on the week or every Saturday night, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern time. Make sure to check it out. But basically, yeah, like, I mean, just imagine having Anthony Davis on your fantasy team. He comes back, dominates for about 2-3 weeks, and then, next, another 4 to 6 weeks.
It sucks.
It's terrible.
I've always had like a certain distaste for Anthony Davis just because of like the yearly, even this year when that shouldn't happen, Anthony Davis versus Giannis comparison, where Lakers Twitter, who loves their players like nobody loves.
Let me hang on. Well, before you continue, let me apologize because 2018, 2019, those conversations started. And I definitely said Anthony Davis better. Not dissing Giannis, because I've loved Giannis since he came into the league. But at the time I was like, AD is a little bit better. Now I don't believe that at all. I think Giannis is better than a lot of guys, honestly. They were actually having a debate, like who was better to Giannis and David Robinson. I said Giannis will put David Robinson in a fucking blender. That's how much I believe in Giannis.
Giannis is closer to Tim Duncan at this point than he is David Robinson. Not saying he's better by any means, but he is closer to that, in my opinion. The thing with Anthony Davis is also it gets underrated in this because he's injured so much. But let's be fully honest, like Giannis is better because of the defense and the scoring, but also that you can run the entire offense based off of Giannis, who initiates and plays off the ball. He's part of everything. He's closer to a Luka on offense because of that usage than he is into an Anthony Davis, who mainly does his damage in the post or at the elbow with the triple threat, which should be a testament to how good he is at that without having like heliocentrism in his DNA. He can score at any point of the floor. He can get to the basket. He's got fantastic post moves. He's a number one option without having to be a 10 assist guy, which is how good he is on offense. And that doesn't say anything about his all-team defense. I don't think there's been a year yet where he's been the clear DPOY favorite, but he's been first team. He's great on defense. He's really good. The difference of that is just with Giannis is just accomplished more because he has more of the usage, more of a demand over the offense. That's all I'm saying is that's why he's better, but don't underrate Anthony Davis. That's what the Lakers are missing right now. And that's always been his Achilles heel. Not that he's ever had an Achilles injury. I really hope I don't jinx anything by saying that. That's just
my God.
It's just an expression. It's just an expression. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But he's always hurt. And when he's healthy, he's great. He was healthy for all of the bubble playoffs, and he was elite. Some people can say that that's an aberration, but it still happened. You know, it's still on the stat sheet, and he still played great, and that mid-range was butter for the entire playoffs. And they won a championship, and he was like the number 2 guy in a chip. That's something that happened. We have to say that. And they're missing for the entire goddamn season, man.
The Lakers are just going through some rough times right now. A lot of people are all rapping Lakers' ass because they couldn't make a trade or they didn't make a trade on the trade deadline. I don't even think he should take a lot of heat for that because the Lakers don't really have a lot of guys with value like that. So it's like, you know, a lot of us expected the Lakers to do nothing because a lot of the guys are just not. I'm not going to say they suck, but you know, a lot of teams are not going to like risk whatever they have for like any of those guys. Like as crazy as it is, Taylor Horton-Tucker, I knew he was not leaving at the trade deadline. I knew guys like Trevor Ariza wasn't leaving at the trade deadline. DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard, you know, the list can go on and on and on.
Right.
So I knew going towards the trade deadline, people like, oh, the Lakers need to do this, the Lakers need to do that. I'm like, the Lakers are going to have to be stuck with what they got. Right. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but
it's what they
built. It is what it is at the end of the day. You know, they could have had Buddy Hield, but they didn't get Buddy Hield. They could have had Kyle Lowry. They could have traded Taylor Horton-Tucker for Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, man.
Do that.
Yeah,
they did not do that. Now look how things have turned. Kyle Lowry is doing his thing in Miami now. They are one of the top seeds in the East, and now the Lakers are fighting to get into the playoffs.
It's really cool. But enough with bad news. I'm sick of it. Let's move on to some great news, man. Markelle Fultz.
Let's get it, man. Oh my God.
So this will be releasing on supposed to play tonight if you're listening Monday morning. He's been out since January of 2021 last year with an ACL tear. Rehab's about 12 months, so he's really like he did the whole thing, but it's still soon after. They could have held on. So I'm excited to see Markelle, man. Orlando's been really fun this year, and he's just like another just fun player to add into the mix, man. How do you feel?
I'm happy. I'm always a guy that believes in Markelle Fultz. I think that he can still have a good career. We get it. You know, he was a number 1 pick. He has not lived, or he never will live up to those expectations. But people forget early last year, he actually had a pretty solid year. I can't remember the exact numbers. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but he was playing pretty solid. And I think a lot of people forgot that. So hopefully with him coming back, you know, for the Magic, I mean, we all know that the Magic aren't going to do anything, but they got a lot of young talent, Jalen Suggs, Mo Bamba, a few other guys as well, Cole Anthony, you name it. So I think Markelle Fultz will be able to fit right back into what they got.
Last year, before he got hurt, he was averaging 12 and 5 assists with the steal. Like that's like a player. Like I could see him having. I guess that's just a basketball reference Wingstop ad. So I guess we're advertising Wingstop. Please don't copyright or something for that. God.
Please
Um,
don't. But honestly, shout out to Wingstop though. I love Wingstop.
I do love Wingstop. I do get. There's no good wings in LA. The LA's got the best of a
Really?
lot of foods. They got some of the best Korean food in the states. They got some of the best Mexican food in the states. Don't mind me, by the way. And the wings kind of suck. Like there's good spots, but you gotta find like they're not easily accessible. That's the one thing about Milwaukee. I walk into anywhere and you can get fantastic wings usually, and I've got spots that are even better than that for really cheap. So shout out to Milwaukee, I guess, for the wings, man. But I just get Wingstop right now because it's the only solid option. Anyways,
It is.
I can see like we just saw a guy who was the number one pick who was considered a bust, but has turned into like a really solid player. Was an all-star starter this year, whether deservingly or not. He had enough attention to do so as Andrew Wiggins. So who's to say that Markelle, if he doesn't get over the injuries, which has really been the one thing holding him back so far, can't have a similar career arc? He's got the talent. We know he's got like talent to be in the NBA.
Right. And that's the thing, man. Like, I'm always going to be rooting for him. I'm always going to be rooting for Markelle Fultz because I believe that he can have a solid career and he can be a solid role player.
And the only thing has been we haven't been able to watch him super long because he tore his ACL and he got hurt before that. So hopefully he can stay healthy. That's the big thing. Some more bad news. Derrick Rose, who just came back with an ankle surgery, actually didn't even come back. He was a full participant in 2 practices this week and was like supposed to get cleared. And then they found a bone spur to remove a bone spur. The timeline has not been returned to set. So another surgery for Derrick Rose. Another, example of, unfortunately, Tibbs just grinding his players in the dust, man, specifically Derrick Rose. He's been doing it to Derrick Rose his whole career. I really think
this is the Tom Thibodeau formula.
I know. I really do think the Knicks and the Tibbs are headed to an ugly divorce in the summer.
Oh, yeah, without a question.
I'm not sure if it'll happen, but I hope it happens for the good of the team. They really do need a coach that prioritizes development because RJ Barrett's the future. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but RJ Barrett's the future. Career high 46 the other night, by the way.
Cooked in the first half against Miami.
Speaking of cooked, Julius Randle has been cooked the whole fucking season, man. It's really disappointing to see. Last year's most improved player has just been disengaged the whole year. And listen, all fairness to him, I'm checked out at work all the time right now, and I'm really struggling myself, with everything that's going on in the world. So I don't blame him for being disengaged, but it's really disappointing to see him after he was so engaged and passionate about winning last year because he was 13 All NBA. He was one of the 15 best players voted last year. That was Julius Randle, and now he didn't even get an all-star bid, man. RJ Barrett was closer because RJ Barrett's better. I hope they find a way to get Julius Randle going again, and I think the answer is probably just getting a point guard, like a singular point guard would be really cool for them, or give Quickly more minutes. I know Tibbs doesn't trust him, so hire someone that does, or at least is willing to trust him for the good parts and the bad parts, because you need to see them out there. Even Obi. A lot of us don't think that Obi has what was he, number 8 overall talent, but
7 or 8,
we've seen guys in the right situation with enough minutes show that they're worth far more than that. Like Desmond Bane, who's got picked 30th, and he got the minutes and the experience. He turns out he's like a fucking top 8 pick at this point in a redraft, if not higher.
Uh-huh.
You got to give him the minutes to find out. You're never going to find out if he's just this dunk contest champion.
But that also is the difference, though. That's the difference between a guy like Tom Thibodeau and Taylor Jenkins. Like Taylor Jenkins, he's been excellent at developing all of his young talent, whereas Tom Thibodeau is more of an old school type. You know what I'm saying?
He won't play Cam Reddish. He's playing a little bit more now. He had a pretty good game tonight, but they got blown out.
Real upset about that.
I think that's the main thing. The front office and the head coach are clearly not on the same page, and a lot of teams are. They have to be. The best teams have that synergy so they can make the decisions that are going to be cohesive. So that's why Tibbs might get canned because they want to go in that direction. Let's move on to
definitely. Hang on before we go. I just want to say, definitely Tibbs is gone. The Knicks are not making the playoffs this year. That is definitely not happening whatsoever. I wouldn't even. Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly Julius Randle's contract, but if they were to look for a trade for him, I wouldn't be mad at that either.
It's still an okay contract. Like someone would trade for that contract. I think someone would still think. Like there were rumors of him going to Sacramento. It's not the worst contract because he signed under the max for them. He did them a favor. He didn't have to do that. He signed an extension before. And honestly, it looks like they did him a favor in the way he's playing this year and the contract that they're giving him. But he can still thrive. I'm still a believer in Julius.
Julius is still a great player. He's a great player.
In the right situation, they need shooters and they need someone that can pass the fucking ball. They should have, if they could have gotten Hallie, they should have gone and gotten Hallie with everything. The only guys that are untouchable on this roster right now are RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. Everyone else can be traded, including Quickly and Obi, by the way. If you can get a really good player in return, okay, you can do it because you need a point guard. Just get any.
Yeah, Quickly has struggled like over the past month or so.
Yeah, but he needs more minutes. He doesn't get the minutes.
Yeah,
he gets He gets 13 minutes a game or 7 minutes the next game. Tibbs really doesn't give him a chance. It's really weird.
We gotta have a Knicks episode, man. We have to.
We'll get somebody on. We'll talk about it.
Definitely.
And we'll save any more talk for it because we've gone on a bit of a tangent about it for another episode. Keep an eye out. There's some good news, I guess. After a 3-year suspension from the NBA, former rookie of the year, Tyreke Evans, is going to meet with the Milwaukee Bucks. Big shout out to Lunch Lover Shams for tweeting this one out. He, by the way, gets most of the Bucks news now. Like he always has the breaking news for the Bucks, like the Brook Lopez injury updates, simply because the Bucks front office reportedly, not confirmed, but much like a lot of Bucks Twitter, blame Woj for fucking up the Bogdanovich trade. And now, coincidentally, all of our news is broken by Shams only, and Woj never has a scoop on it. Anyways, that's just a thing that happens. I don't know, man. It's fun. The buyout market was supposed to be better than this. Thaddeus Young was supposed to be a buyout candidate, and he got traded by the Raptors. And he actually looks pretty solid for them. I don't know. They only lost 8 spots in the draft. I don't think that's that terrible of a move. Maybe if they blow that pick, it is. And there's someone else. Who knows? But
shout out to Tyreke Evans, man. I'm definitely happy to see him back. One thing I will say, free my guy OJ Mayo. If Tyreke Evans can get a second chance, I'm hoping OJ Mayo can as well.
OJ Mayo was a super usable bench player on the Milwaukee Bucks before he got suspended.
That's true.
Maybe he was only that because of whatever he was taking, but I wouldn't be surprised if he came into the league right now and provided what Wesley Matthews was doing. Wesley Matthews was playing really good defense and hitting threes well, once a month. One week a month hitting the threes well, which might happen in the playoffs. It might not. Lately, it's been dropping, which is nice to see. But I could see that from OJ, and OJ was just pretty much that for the early Giannis ages. People don't remember that.
Yeah, he had good showings with Memphis. Memphis, I think Dallas for a brief moment as well.
Now, Dallas was the last place he averaged 20 plus a game. He basically that offseason, Monte Ellis went to Dallas in free agency.
That's true.
And OJ Mayo went to Milwaukee in free agency, so they just swapped places. But there was a trade without a trade. It was really funny. Monte Ellis.
Shout out to that Brandon Jennings Monte Ellis backcourt.
Hey man. The NBA big commercial where they have Monte and BJ in the Shirley and Laverne theme song for Milwaukee is to this day my favorite NBA video. Find it if you can. I'll probably tweet it out because of this episode. I missed that backcourt. They didn't do anything. I mean, they got swept.
Yeah, they didn't do nothing at all. But it was
playoffs. So they made it cool though. But when they were clicking, they would score, man. Monte was the mid-range guy, and BJ had just a in and out game. It was a lot like Brandon Knight when he was with the Bucks too. Man, Brandon was balling. Even when he went to Detroit, he was putting up games before the Achilles. Really sucked. But
that's true. And the only memory people really have of him is when he blew that layup against Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, people remember him putting up 55 on Steph Curry's head his rookie year. People remember that.
Oh yeah, BJ, yeah.
People remember that. All right, Brandon did that. That was pretty much the highlight of his career. But he's a pretty good player, man. He was usable. He had Under Armour shoes that were ugly as hell, but it was the first time in my Milwaukee Bucks fandom that like one of our guys had a fucking a shoe, you know. So that was really cool.
By the way, I was thinking about Brandon Knight by mistake when I mentioned the blown layup. That's my bad.
Oh, that is Brandon Knight, though. Yeah. And Brandon Knight, by the way, same thing where he was playing great for the Bucks. I still think he should have been an all-star the year that they gave it to fucking Kyle Korver instead, averaging 12 points a game because he was like
that was the year where
like
the fucking the
league history 3-point percentage and the Hawks were winning so many games. Shut the fuck up, Adam Silver. It should have been Brandon Knight. Even Dwayne Wade said, I think it should go to Brandon Knight because I think he went to like a Miami college and he was like rooting for that. If he can't play in Miami, guy should be there. And Adam Silver still chose Kyle Korver. So I was still so pissed about that. I'm not sure if he would get traded if he was an all-star that year, but it doesn't really matter because they that year, the reason why they traded Brandon Knight, by the way, it was a surprise to a lot of people, but both him and Chris Middleton were free agents that year, and they were going to choose one of them because they didn't want to pay both of them. And they chose Chris Middleton, and they were right, by the way. Big shout out because that wasn't John Horst, who's currently there. That was just the right decision by Hollinger before he went to the Magic, who's doing fun stuff in Magic in Orlando right now. But where was I? Brandon Knight. They traded him because they didn't want to pay him, and we got Michael Carter-Williams in return. Whatever, man. That was something. We'll save this for a Bucks episode. But Tyreke Evans, I think the buyout market is so bad right now, you may as well check it out. If he seems interesting, bring him on. You tried Boogie this year. Why not Tyreke Evans? Just get fun. I want to have fun. We're not really winning a lot of games right now, so I want to have fun. I mean, we are winning a lot of games. We're still in the playoffs, but not as many as you would think, and they're dropping really easy games. Let's move on to our last bad news before our last good news. Fucking the Raptors, who have been playing so well lately clearly in the playoff seeding. OG Anunoby fractured his right ring finger, and they've been blown out like twice since then.
Oh yeah, they got smoked by Charlotte the other night.
By Charlotte, who they should be able to play against.
Definitely. Yeah. Charlotte has been struggling, man. Jeez.
Dude,
I think they lost like 10 of 11.
Don't get me started. We talked about this last episode. Don't get me started, though, but they're playing Montrezl Harrell with Mason Plumlee at the same time. Unfucking real. Unreal, Borrego. Come on. Pick one. You need to pick one. I don't know if he just is overloading on size because they haven't had it this year, but you need to just play Trez at center because he has had stretches at just center that he's played well. He's an athletic dude that dunks, man.
That's a fact.
And that's what Charlotte does, like, among other things. But that's what the highlights are, and he's providing that. I don't know. Just let him play. If you're not going to play any defense, just go all in on offense. Because Mason Plumlee is not fixing your defense by any means. He's not helping you on offense next to Montrezl Harrell. He's a good passer, but not shooter, so it's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
Right, but back to OG. I think it's kind of a bad loss, honestly, for them. OG's had a pretty solid season. Well, the Raptors have had a pretty solid season overall, to say the least. You know, obviously with Fred VanVleet getting an All-Star spot. The Raptors have been just the one team that I don't think people are paying attention to them. I still think that they're not, even with them. I think last time I checked, they're like the 6th or 7th spot. If I'm not mistaken. But the Raptors have been playing excellent basketball this year. They're one of the top, they're one of the top defensive teams over the past month or so. So they have been playing terrific basketball. So for OG Anunoby, who is a terrific defender or terrific on-ball defender, can also make plays as well. For him to be gone, I think it's a big loss, but they could possibly contain it for a little while for the time frame that he's out. They still got guys like obviously Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., and the rest of those guys.
Baby.
Scottie Barnes. You see out the Scottie Barnes.
Scottie.
Man, it's my guy.
Yeah, I love me some Scottie. All right, that's the bad news, but let's finish off with some really fucking good news, man. All right. Denver Nuggets forward Michael Porter Jr., this is from Woj, by the way, is progressing to be cleared for on-court contact within the next week, freeing a path for him to return to the lineup sometime in March. And that's from his agent. So that's a statement from his agent. And what a treat, man, because only a month ago, I think, they got a disabled player exception for Michael Porter Jr., and you only get that if an independent rules that it could be a season-ending injury. So an independent doctor ruled that, and they got the money. So that kind of signaled that he wasn't coming back. And now he's looking like, I mean, before we get into this, at the same time, there is a rumored Jamal Murray return in July or in March as well. And if them are coming back at the same time with Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon, Ray, how you feeling about that?
I like it. Honestly, it definitely helps Denver as a team. Well, here's the thing. I'm excited about Michael Porter Jr. returning, but I'm not saying that I'm not excited about Murray returning, but I don't know, like with it being so close to the playoffs, it's like, what Jamal Murray are we gonna get? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he might still be a little rusty.
Sure.
He's not gonna play at I'm not gonna expect him to play at his absolute best. But with those two coming back, it definitely does take Denver to a whole nother level. Obviously, with Jokic, taking that pressure off of Jokic. Aaron Gordon has been a great guy for him in that front court, and then obviously, with other guys as well. So I'm not mad at it. It's just that, with it being so close to playoff time, what percentage are these guys going to be in? Like, how well are they going to play as we approach the postseason?
Right. Fair. That's fair with the Nuggets. Here's what if you're the Nuggets, you don't have a choice. If you can get any version of Jamal Murray out there, you get it out there because
that's a fact.
Your backcourt has been kind of nasty this season. Bones Highland has been fun for stretches. Big shout out to Bones. But if they can get Jamal Murray back in any form, he instantly becomes the best option in the backcourt. Just like James Harden on one leg was still the best option for the Nets for like 38 minutes a game. Just hobbling around. He played great, by the way. But if they're getting them both back,
it's definitely a huge plus.
Listen, the season ends today, and they play the 3-6 matchup with Memphis.
Ooh.
What is that, dude? That is legit. That's legit.
That's 7 games right there. I don't care. If Utah and Denver could go 7 in that matchup in the bubble, Memphis and Denver can do it as well. 7 games. I'm banking on it.
Nasty, because nobody can stop Ja, and I'm not super confident on Steven Adams stopping Nikola Jokic, if I'm being fully honest. They don't have wing defenders, so actually, Williams, the rookie, has been playing pretty well this year, but he's not like a big wing by any means. So Michael Porter's going to get his shot off. It's interesting. I think it'll go 7. You're right. That would be super fun. Any last thoughts on the Nuggets before we move on to some quick All-Star thoughts?
People stop getting on to me because Jokic is not in my top 3 MVP. I said he was in my top 5. Stop getting upset. I love Jokic. Please. Stop getting on to me.
Yeah. People are going to still say it, though. Jokic has got a very big fandom on Twitter. I appreciate that, though.
I think him and Giannis have to be two like the most loved stars in the league.
Man, Giannis does have stands, man. I never thought a Milwaukee player would have stands like this. It's so crazy.
Nah.
So crazy. People don't give a shit about the Bucks are like huge Giannis stands, and I never thought people would like that. Damn, so cool. So cool. All right, All-Star Weekend. I know it's been a week. Really quick, just one thought on like everything. So let's go quickly with it. Celebrity game, boring. Thought for you?
I probably only watched like 30 seconds of it.
I didn't see any of it. I just know it was really boring. Rising Stars game. I thought the target score was really fun.
I liked it too. I definitely liked the last play when Desmond Bain was at the free throw line and then Cole Anthony just like pulls down his shorts trying to like distract him.
Oh yeah.
Was
He
funny.
pantsed him. I got this video of James Worthy being
like cursing,
actually pissed at the ref at the Rising Stars game for not getting off. I think that's hilarious, and that's the only energy that you should be bringing to it. Cade Cunningham wins MVP. Doesn't mean anything but the number 1 overall pick gets the Rising Stars game MVP in a year that people are talking about Evan Mobley being the actual number 1 pick or the actual best player in this draft. It's something to put on the resume. Like people will talk about this. Like ESPN, Stephen A. Smith will bring this up if he's arguing it. So it means something at least that he wins MVP.
That's true. That is a fact.
And then the Clorox challenge, the clutch challenge. Here's Scottie Barnes. I don't know. Oh God. All right.
That was also funny as well. I think it was during the skills challenge when I think it was Maxey. It was Maxey and Scottie Barnes. I want to say like they were like doing like the little floater thing like during the like I guess like during the timeout and they were like missing every single one of them.
Right. Skills challenge. Cavs won it. It was kind of lame. Like the whole thing was kind of lame, right?
Yeah, kind of. I don't understand the teams though.
I don't really.
I don't
get
know.
It either.
It's weird.
I watched it because it was the Antetokounmpo brothers, and that's pretty cool to see. But
that was honestly who I was rooting for.
I mean, it would have been cool. The shooting challenge really fucked them. I don't think we knew that there was going to be a shooting challenge. Although they tied with the Cavs or the rookies. I just want to point that out. It was that was. Whew, they each made their first couple of shots, and that was it. And then they would just miss them all. It was crazy. It was kind of lame, but they did a great job in the passing challenge, which it's the Giannis family. You gotta respect the passing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 3-point contest. Karl Anthony Towns, first big to win it since Kevin Love. Both of them Timberwolves. Pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. That was something that I didn't expect. I think I went in saying I can't remember what exactly. I think I said Trae Young was going to win it, but he was kind of shit, honestly, for the most part. But shout out to Cat though, man. I mean, Cat definitely put on a show. You know what I'm saying? Did what he had to do.
There's a lot of people online that says he's the best shooting big of all time. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean,
I don't agree with that at all. People have to stop. There's a lot of people
that say that, which would lead you to believe he's probably the best shooting big today, at least, which is something. It's
maybe today, but not all time. People got to stop.
Yeah, but people are going to overreact. People always have recency bias, and it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so much recency bias with Giannis. I get to talk so much shit. Until we lose in the playoffs, I'm still talking a lot of shit about it. And We'll see. We'll see about the playoffs, man. I'm a little shaky right now. Dunk contest. My God, man. I'm sick of it. I'm so tired.
Let me just be honest about the dunk contest. I didn't really watch it, to be honest. I fell asleep. I'm just going to be honest. And what's crazy? Like when I fell asleep because I had a long day that day, I felt bad. But then I woke up the next morning.
Yeah, you didn't miss
Twitter. Yeah, like everybody was just dog shitting it, and I was like, oh my God. But honestly, as a fan, like as an NBA fan, I've been an NBA fan since I was a little kid. I honestly saw this coming because the past few dunk. I mean, I'm not gonna say the past few, but for a long time, the dunk contest was kind of dying down. And I mean, look, I don't even blame like the actual contestants. For the reason why, it's just I think it's possibly because we've seen literally every dunk in the dunk contest. So now that we see, as in like we see Cole Anthony do these dunks, we see Obi Toppin do some of these dunks. It's like it's impressive. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't make those dunks. I'll be real. Like I can't go between the legs. I can't do a 360. So I mean, it's impressive to me. But as an NBA fan, we've seen it before on many occasions. So it's like it's kind of like What is it?
You just do fan voting. I feel like because if you do fan voting, even if you get it wrong, it's so much of a bigger deal on Twitter than it is on anything else. There's always controversy with the judging. You may as well have like capitalize on the controversy with that to get some social engagement. At least then the people talk about the dunk contest every single year like that.
Right. Well, the
It
controversy really started with judging when D Wade was just given like some shit scores that
I
one
still
year.
kind of disagree. Yeah, I disagree with that, man. That sucked. Aaron Gordon
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna not do the dunk contest anymore, and he didn't ever again.
I'm rooting for Anthony Edwards, John Morant, a healthy Zion. I don't know if he
Yeah,
would be able to, but a
if
healthy
he
Zion
wanted to
could be able to do
if he
it.
wanted to get back into the spotlight, that would be a good way to do it.
That actually would be really good. That would be great for him.
Yeah, only if he's healthy, though. My God, don't do it if you
But
are even a little bit hurt, please,
yeah, it's
Zion.
true. And please don't hurt yourself while you're doing it, please.
Yeah, that's also true. But
Do not tear an ACL.
at his best, it would be a sick dunk contest. I still watch those Duke highlights when everyone's been posting them
Oh
lately.
hell yeah! Oh hell yeah!
But
Without question.
get that guy out there, yeah. Maybe if you do that, the old boys come back, like Zach and Aaron want to defend against those boys. I saw one thing online. I think it was Nihilus Bucks. That you should do 2 NBA players, the winner of the G League dunk contest, and some YouTuber dunker that does cool dunks on YouTube, because their reasoning was the NBA players don't want to get shown up by a YouTuber, and those dudes do pretty sick dunks on YouTube. I guess if you're into that, do you watch dunks on YouTube? I've never done that.
I honestly don't, to be honest.
Yeah,
I should though.
Yeah, but they're on it. I'm sure they're big on TikTok or something. But get one of those guys, because they do stuff that gets the crowd, really into it, and then see how the NBA players show up, maybe a bit more prepared.
But honestly, there's another thing as well. There's some G Leaguers out there that can do some crazy dunks. For example, Mac McClung.
Yeah,
he needs to get into the dunk contest.
They should.
Honestly,
I saw that. Yeah, I've seen some of his clips. See, they should put him in there. A lot of G League dunkers were great before they were big into it. Gerald Green was one of the best dunkers of all time.
Oh
he was
my
in the
God,
G Leaguer
yes.
at first. He's in the G League right now, I think. The Rio Grande. And Derek Jones Jr. was a G League guy.
That's true, yeah.
And he was just a dunk contest guy for a couple of years. Hell, even Zach LaVine was only considered a dunker before he developed his scoring game.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Bring him on. Just do it. Just do it. Oh well. I didn't want to talk about the All-Star game that much, but let's just do the All-Star game. Steph MVP, 16 threes.
That was insane. It was just I think it's a clear example of how today's NBA or today's basketball in general, we anticipate the 3-point shot more than we do the dunks, honestly, because when you watch Steph Curry just knock down 16 threes, you're anticipating the next one's going to go in, the next one's going to go in. Not saying that there were any impressive dunks, because I think John Morant actually had a really nice dunk in the All-Star game that was pretty impressive that I think people overlooked. But besides that, Steph definitely had the best game out of everybody. I think he got 50 points in total, 16 threes, something like that. So I mean, it was definitely impressive. A lot of people were upset because the ball went to LeBron and LeBron hit the game-winning shot. I don't understand why people are upset about it, but hey, Team LeBron ended up winning, which honestly people expect because KD just cannot pick a team. I'm not saying that he picks bad players,
shit, man.
I'm not gonna say he picks bad players, but it's I don't know if it's possible because he's not playing in the All-Star game, so he just doesn't really give a shit. Right. But it's you know what I'm saying? Whenever they do the draft, LeBron's building an actual roster, an actual team.
How does LeBron get Giannis, Steph, and Jokic on the same team? How do you get those 3 players without KD picking them? What the fuck, man?
Literally insane.
What the fuck? That's so funny. Yeah, he can't.
I don't understand this guy.
LeBron's undefeated in his MVP games or his All-Star games. Yeah, his All-Star teams, he's undefeated. And what the fuck, man? I don't know why KD can't pick a team. He is there just for fun, though. I guess he doesn't care as much about winning.
That is insane, though, because Giannis was the first pick. KD should have automatically went Steph for the second one. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. It's KD. It's fine. He does what he wants. We always know that KD does what he wants. That's 100% for sure. All right, let's finish off with the plug zone. Our fave. All right, let's finish off with the plug zone. Our fave picks. Article of the week. Dre, you want to start with yours? I can pull up a little Linkski here.
Yes, shout out to the great Jackson Frank. Oh man, super dope writer. Shout out to everybody at Basketball News as well, man. Super dope content creators there. Jackson did an article basically breaking down his top 10, or it was top 10 of his favorite rookies, which I am on record saying that this rookie class is one of the best that we've seen in a very long time, and it's not even like a secret. So he mentioned players, obviously Scottie Barnes, but he also mentioned the players you probably wouldn't think of, like Franz Wagner, Herbert Jones from New Orleans, our like one of our fan favorites of the show, Sengun from Houston. Like, basically breaking down basically breaking down why why these guys have been impressive and what they mean to the team. So shout out to Jackson, man. That was a super dope article that I read from him.
Yeah, big shout out. We can't stop talking about these rookies this year. I love it. It's such a
really
great
good
class so far, and I'll read anything that drops on them, and just great stuff. On my end, I've got one of the more like unfortunate stories of the past couple of weeks in the NBA was this De'Aaron Fox NFT scam.
Oh my God, yeah.
Stephen No, who usually does a great Hidden Gems series on Sporting News, did an article on this, just breaking it down. Doesn't make it seem like he's choosing any side, just breaks it down how it happened. And he actually has quotes from some of the people that were investing in the NFT, then how they feel and how it actually went down. So it's actually a pretty interesting read, pretty journalistic look there. So check that out. We'll have it tweeted out too. This week we'll have scheduled tweets out for links with the people that wrote them, so you can check them out if you'd like. I've got
definitely need to check that out.
A video of the week, one that I liked was Rusty Buckets. I don't know if you're aware of Rusty Buckets, but
I've heard of him. Yeah.
He's great on YouTube. And part of his series, one of the series he does is NBA deep dives, where he just looks at a topic that he really he wants to analyze and really goes in depth about it. And this was about NBA loyalty around Dame Lillard, and I know you're tweeting about it a lot, so you might like the video.
Oh man, I need to check this out.
On the loyalty.
Also,
yeah.
Just another thing real quick. I'm kind of going off topic. We need to get what are they called? Ballsack Sports or whatever.
Ballsack Sports,
we need to get them off of socials and everything, because they keep getting me every time with these quotes, and I keep getting upset, and then everybody's like, dude, you know this from Ballsack. Like, how am I supposed to know that?
You're just gonna follow them.
I don't know.
Just follow them so you see them first, because people always just take them. They save the picture from their page and post it. So if you just seen it from Ballsack Sports first, you never get caught. That's what I'm doing. And they're pretty good at it. They're pretty good at
they are good at
something that
it.
people want to get pissed off about. It's fun. It's fun. Just follow them. Fuck it. Who cares?
Oh man.
Check out that Rusty video for the deep dive on loyalty. Really cool look at the history of free agency, as well as pointing out the hypocrisies that are associated with loyalty in the NBA. I would check it out. And I got a pod of the week that I want to plug. I tried to listen to more non-play analysis content during the break, the All-Star break, and get some more like entertainment basketball-based stuff. Jordan Liggins of the Spinsters podcast did a 5-chapter pod. It's like 47 minutes long. But it's called An Ode to Black Hair. And it's 5 stories about hair in the NBA. It's really cool. It has some guests on there that provide pretty good perspective about, how the played in. Some of the legendary hairstyles talked about there are Iverson's braids, MJ's bald head. Check out shit like that on the podcast. It's really good. Kyle Kuzma, who changes his hair all the time. It's a pretty fun conspiracy at the end there. Jared, do you have anything else that you want to plug?
Unfortunately, I didn't. Nothing that I got. Well,
You writing anything?
Mate.
Anything else you want to plug? Like some would you count the bucket again? Other ones like that?
Yeah, we'll do. We'll plug Count the Bucket, and then we'll also plug Hoop Truthers. Check out episode 1 with the great Mark Schindler. Super dope episode. Make sure to check that out. But as far as for me, I'm working. I don't know. I was trying to stay away from the pen, but I don't know. It's just been calling my name. You know what I'm saying? Anytime I'm watching basketball, I know we're waiting.
We're waiting for it.
Oh yeah. I am looking to put one out this week on a super dope high school prospect called Adonis Hollyman. Shout out to the Hollyman family. So yeah, make sure to look out for that later on this week. Besides that, I'm actually before I stopped, I was working on like 7 series, so I need to go ahead and finish those up and then put them out as soon as possible.
I haven't really put out anything. You can get him at Nick Andre ATR on Twitter for any updates on his content and tweets about other stuff. For me, I've written something for Sir Charles in Charge. I might have plugged it last week. I don't know about the losers of the trade deadline. Looking like some of those might be wrong, specifically the Mavs, especially if Damas Bertonsky's playing this way, which is pretty cool. We'll talk about it in a future episode. And you can find me, though, at _Lucifer on Twitter. That's Lucifer with a G if you care enough. But that's pretty much it. That's for plugging. Why don't we have some final thoughts? Here's one thing that I know you want to talk about this. Come on. Let's talk about.
Oh yeah, final thoughts.
Let's talk about Charles Oakley real quick.
Oh, yeah,
let's talk about Charles Oakley real quick. Who we can't hear it, but it's Charles Oakley saying that Giannis would be a bench player, a 6th man in his era, mainly because you couldn't shoot. But we're in the most shot dominant part of the NBA ever,
which I don't understand because even back then. Back in the 90s and 80s, shooting was not really that big of a priority, so it would not have mattered. This is something that I don't understand.
Go.
This is something that I don't understand when like these old heads, a lot of these old heads, and here's the thing, they're not even like stars, they're just like old role players, just start shitting on like the players today. Like, you know, we always hear all the time, LeBron couldn't have made it in the 90s. LeBron is like 270 pounds, bro. You think he could not? You think he couldn't handle physicality back then? Like, come on, y'all. Even like Giannis today, like Giannis would probably be super dominant in the 90s or in the 80s or 90s, wherever you want to put him. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Giannis could be just as...
You can't play zone defense against a guy.
Exactly.
You can play him one-on-one. You're fucked.
And here's something that I might say. People are probably going to hate me for saying this. Giannis could be competing with Magic Johnson back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he would have been bigger because obviously Magic is by far a better point guard, but Magic was like probably the best thing out there besides Larry Bird in the 80s. And then, of course, you know, you had a baby Michael Jordan, Hakeem, Isaiah, and those guys. Giannis would have been right up there with them, 100%. In my opinion.
And listen, Charles Oakley has been largely like a fun NBA figure. Like, he was an enforcer in the NBA. He was part of 8 teams, including the 90s Knicks. Played with MJ early on in Chicago for like 1 season. I think that was that season that they wrote about that was like, a lot of them were doing cocaine. That's pretty cool. And
oh man, shout out to The Last Dance.
Yeah, shout out to The Last Dance, man. I got to rewatch that sometime.
Yeah, me too.
But no, you can't say this about this, and it's kind of just disrespectful. Like, that's what they say about like, it's overused, that disrespect. It's like a buzzword used on Twitter, but this is disrespectful to a guy that's got 2 MVPs and a Finals MVP. Like, yes, he could. He would thrive in your era. Relax. It doesn't matter anymore.
Stop hating, man. Stop hating.
I want to hear about your 75th anniversary take. You've been teasing this on Twitter.
Yeah, so obviously during halftime of the All-Star game, you know, the NBA's top 75 players were, you know, introduced and they were celebrated throughout the halftime. We saw guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic, of course, Isaiah Thomas, Kawhi Leonard, you know, a lot of these greats, Giannis as well. So yeah, definitely shout out to them. Congrats to them. But then, of course, you know, as people are celebrating the NBA 75, there's obviously controversy of who didn't make it. You know, guys like Kyrie Irving, Tracy McGrady, Tony Parker, Dwight Howard, you name it. And then there's also some guys that I don't believe should have been in that NBA 75 list. And this is a name that I'm going to throw out there. I know for a fact that when everyone sees this or listens to this, you guys are going to slander me. And guess what? I don't give a shit. And it is one guy that I love, honestly. I love this guy. Like, this guy is a hard-nosed player. He plays his heart out, or he played his heart out when he played. He was a tough-nosed guy.
Man.
Dennis Rodman. I don't believe that Dennis. I don't look. I love Dennis Rodman. I don't believe he deserves. I don't believe that he deserves to be in the NBA 75. Only reason why is because, look, Dennis Rodman, tough-nosed guy. You know what I'm saying? Without his presence, he would not like the teams that he was on, the Pistons and the Bulls would not win multiple championships. Let's get that out of the way. But I think we have to take into consideration that I think people hold Rodman a little bit higher than what he needs to be because he played with Jordan. Because here's the thing: if you take away his Chicago career and you just have Detroit, and I think he spent a little bit of time in San Antonio as well, Dennis Rodman's not a top 70, or Dennis Rodman's probably not even looked at as NBA 75. So when I look at him in the NBA 75, which I will say he does have the accolades. He's a rebounding machine. He's a champion. He's one of the best defensive players the NBA has ever seen. But I'm personally not putting Dennis Rodman in there over a prime Dwight Howard in Orlando. That's just my opinion. I'm not putting him in there over. I might put him in there over Tracy McGrady. I don't know. I don't know about 20. I don't know. See, that's the thing. It's tough though because a lot of these guys is they had good stretches, but it's their careers wasn't long. I guess they didn't really have the longevity. So I guess I can understand it from that perspective of Rodman getting on that list just because he was able to win championships with both Detroit and Chicago. But I think we have to be honest though. If Dennis Rodman was never a Chicago Bull, I don't think we hold him to the high standards that we do. He's a great player, but I think playing alongside Jordan does play a major role in what I'm saying, your status. And that's just my opinion. You guys if you guys need to tweet at me, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Let's have that conversation. But
what I'll say is I think Rodman already had the reputation. Not that he's 100% deserving of top 75, but I'll say that he did have a reputation for the things that he did before he won. So with Detroit, he did the defense and the rebounding, the hustle, and also won a title there. So he's won a title in two different places in the same role. And then
exactly.
with Jordan, I think he proved it in multiple places and won titles in multiple places and did it enough. I mean, even when he was older, he could do it while he was going to he wasn't sleeping at night, basically. He was going on benders, which is one of the runs of an athlete that we will never see again, I don't think. Because
that's true.
Ron was just doing some crazy shit. And he was playing great. Because he wouldn't practice, he would just show up and he would just play great. That's a level of athlete, and whatever you think of it, to a weird level to me. So I don't know.
But like I said, I mean, look, it has nothing to do with Rodman's game. Rodman is one of my personal favorites, honestly, if you want to be honest. If I had to say who's my personal favorite, I think he's in my top 20 at least. When you talk about my personal favorite. What's that?
You think Dame should be there?
Dame should be in the top 75?
Do you think so? He's in there.
I think that's debatable as well. I'm not mad at it, but I don't know.
You think Kyrie should be it over him?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. If you had to choose between him and Kyrie, who would you choose? I mean, in my opinion, you would probably say Kyrie just because Kyrie has a championship. But I don't know. I think there's politics in why Kyrie didn't make it that I don't know if I want to get into.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. And Dame is listen, he does talk about it a lot, even though it does piss you off. But Dame is making a legacy with Portland, giving him all he's got for his whole career, for at least this far, and for longer than he should have. And he's going to be forever known. This is part of the Rusty video, if you guys want to check it out. He is going to be known easily forever as the best Portland Trailblazer of all time.
That's a fact.
He's going to be beloved by them, and he's going to have people outside of Portland stands that are always going to have his back, kind of like they have Russ stands out there just like that as well. And maybe that's more important to Dame. And I think the NBA in selecting the top 75 recognized that and was, recognizing that to the rest of the league as part of his legacy as a player, because he's great. He is great, and he's known as one of the best playoff performers. When he's got, if the game is close at the end of the game, you should be a little concerned if you're not on Portland's side.
That's true, and also like I want to clarify on like why I've been upset with Dame, honestly, because I think people just say, oh, you want him out of Portland. I mean, I do want him out of Portland, but it's not because I don't want him to be a Blazer. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he wants to be in Portland, that's great. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially for him, he grew up watching Kobe be a Laker his entire career. Right. Dirk was a Maverick his whole career. Tim Duncan was on the Spurs his whole career. So that's what he grew up watching. Yeah. So, I'm not mad at his loyalty. But the problem that I have is that for the past decade or so, Portland has not done enough for Dame. You know what I'm saying? They have not. I don't think they've really shown their true appreciation for Dame, because it's insane that Dame is in year 10 now, and this team is going into a rebuilding mode now, which is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you have a guy like Dame who's still in his early 30s, exactly. Like, Dame is still in his early 30s, still at the prime of his career. I know he's injured right now, but still, like, whenever Dame comes back, he's still going to be in the prime of his career. For him to be going into this rebuilding mode, you get rid of CJ McCollum. You don't really get much back, honestly. Like, it just shows to me that, that they don't really appreciate Dame, and that, it's just time to move on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Dame needs to be in a position where he has the best chance of winning. And I just don't think that it's in Portland.
They've never done him favors. They got the McCollum draft pick right. And you know what? Whatever you think of Yusuf Nurkic, they won that trade. They sent Mason Plumlee in a first that I don't think panned out for Denver for Yusuf Nurkic, who I think has been worth more than that. Mason Plumlee was a really good player for the Nuggets too, by the way.
For sure.
Replaced his backup center role for a while, for basically since he's been there. But yeah, they haven't done anything. He hasn't had a number 2 ever, or even close to a number 1, OKC was able to get Russ, Paul George almost out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Oladipo and Domantas Willis both became very good players, but at that point they were still somewhat of prospects where you weren't sure just how good they were,
Right.
And Portland's never been able to do anything close to that. In fact, they're doing the opposite, where they're trading Gary Trent Jr. for Norman Powell last year. And Gary Trent Jr. turns out to be one of those gems. Look at what he's doing in Toronto. He's one of their best scorers because they have mainly defensive guys, and he's playing well on defense too.
Basically, the whole moral of the story is that Damian Lillard needs to be in a position to where he can win. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Portland drafted you. You want to do everything you can for Portland, but the front office is not doing a lot for you, honestly. I don't think that this team is going to get better anytime soon. Chauncey Billups, I like Chauncey Billups, but I don't think he is the right coach for Dame. So this is why I just believe that Dame needs to be in a better position to win.
They have had some fun wins since the
and
trade.
Plus, honestly, like not to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
This is Anthony Simon's time. This is his time now to take the keys for Portland, in my opinion.
That's true. To close it out, we're going to show a little clip of Jordan hugging everybody at the 75th anniversary. Wasn't this so nice to see, man?
Oh yeah, it was definitely great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I think there was like rumors that MJ was not even going to be there, and like that, and like
the Daytona 500 before,
yeah. So like, so for him to show up, and then give love to, like, guys like Kat, Luka, the rest of these guys. I mean, it was. I mean, I guess it's just great to watch, honestly, because like we don't really see that much from Jordan.
We don't, and we don't really never see smiley Jordan either.
No, he was smiling, cheesing.
Man. Maybe he was a little sauce. Maybe he wasn't, but it was really nice to see him like that. It was really, I think he made everyone really happy with the way he showed up and treated everyone nicely. I really, really liked it. And there's that picture of him dapping up Giannis. And there isn't I don't think there's a video of it. I really dive for a video, but that picture was awesome. He knows who he is. and that's all we needed. So, yeah, you
That's a
guys don't
fact.
remember who we were, guys. You don't remember who we were before Giannis. We were nothing, man. We had fun. We had fun teams with fun players, but nothing like this.
Giannis is the
I never
greatest.
thought we would.
Should we consider Giannis the greatest Buck at this point?
Yeah, easily, man.
I'll say it's like I'll say it's a I don't know him or Kareem. Honestly,
He has a
mix up.
chance of passing Kareem's Buck scoring like total this year.
Oh really?
So at worst, he'll do it next year, and that's if he does it now, and he's got like however many years of his career, he's going to blow by that. No, he's the best Buck of all time, and he's going to be one of the best of all time. And it should not be an argument between Kareem and Giannis. It should be having two guys associated with the Bucks, and Giannis's term always with the Bucks, in like the top whatever of the NBA, and that's two for the Bucks. That's pretty big for like we're not a poverty franchise at that point. We're in
right.
there. That's fun, man. That's fun.
Shout out to the Bucks, man. They definitely I believe they have a really high chance of repeating.
They look
That's
like
just my
shit right
opinion.
now, but if
They
Brook
do,
comes
but
back, if Brook comes back, it doesn't matter. If Brook comes
that's
back,
true.
Look at Serge.
Also, I want to ask, like, how do you feel about the Ibaka fit right now? Because
Great.
he has had I mean, I saw a little bit of struggles throughout the Brooklyn game, but besides that, I think his defensive presence is going to be pretty big for them.
On non-Kyrie Irving teams, he switched pick and rolls really well. If you can stay in front of Kyrie Irving, you're not only an elite big defender, you're one of the elite defenders in the league. So he's never going to be able to stay in front of him. But they were executing drop pretty well in that game before they started to run away with it. It was a close game at the end, but it was really weird for us. Gave up a lead. That was awesome. Good job, third quarter. But he's been well. The one thing I say, he did botch an oop once. Middleton threw him an oop, and he just botched the layup. It was really embarrassing. But beyond that, he's finished really well. He's hit a couple of threes, and the defense has been solid. That's all you need now. And honestly, that's all you need in the first round if you're the Bucks. Unless you're facing like an elite team, which you very well could in the East. But if you're facing like a Boston, you can start Serge Ibaka for that series. You can be okay. You can let Brook Lopez heal. They say he'll be back before them, but we'll see. We'll see. Missing Pat Connaughton too, which really sucks. But I will say both Javion Carter and DeAndre Brumby played pretty well last night defensively.
Especially Carter.
And Carter only really stopped playing because he got hit in the nose on a foul, and he got a bloody nose, and he went to the locker room. He played for like the last 30 seconds after that, but he would have played for like a lot longer of the game because he was checking Goran Dragic. He forced an 8-second violation. How often do you see that on Goran Dragic in one of the first possessions he was in? It's really cool. So that's, reinforcements. And maybe Tyreek Irvins. We'll see about Tyreek. March 1st is the deadline for players to be waived and be eligible for the playoffs. So if there's any surprises, it won't happen after March 1st for the buyout market. So why not Tyreek Evans?
Make it happen.
That's Tuesday. If anything happens by then, which I don't think is gonna, check out Tyreek Evans. Put him on a 10-day. I'd watch Tyreek Evans every 10-day, all of it in a Bucks jersey. I checked out all the DeMarcus Cousins games. I usually watch the Bucks games, but
Boogie's also playing well right now in Denver as well.
He played well. Listen, playing for Michael Malone as Boogie Cousins in Sacramento against Sacramento, you're going to get the best Boogie possible. Boogie possible. And that's what they got. He played great. I love him thriving. They gave him a rest of year contract. With Ibaka, even now, because there's already too many people if Brook comes back, but even with Ibaka, Boogie wouldn't have gotten minutes anymore. I really miss it. It was a really fun month. I think he was there for a full month, maybe a little bit longer for the Bucks. It's really fun to watch them at that point, just to see him figuring it out and watching him in a Bucks jersey doing that, and in the post-interview conference or the post-game interviews, talking to the people with just a Bucks jersey, talking about the Bucks. I love when cool NBA players are on the Bucks because it doesn't always happen. That's why I loved PJ among the elite defense he brought. He just brings attention because he's just a fun guy that he just brings that to Milwaukee now. And I always think teams should have that just for a little bit more exposure. We don't have it this year, despite, beyond Giannis being one of the biggest global talents in the world, and that actually gets a lot of views. But none of those like NBA guys, you know what I mean? Drew
Right.
Holiday is on there. Drew Holiday is basically there, but not like those dudes that are like in the DNA of like the cool NBA guys. You know what I mean? Drew
Yeah,
Holiday gets the most respect out of the Bucks because dudes
he
like him, and
does.
he started on the Olympic team. Like people do know Drew Holiday, and he gets that, but not to the extent of like guys love PJ Tucker. You know,
He's a hard nosed dude, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he has like some of the most respect around the league.
man, I love Boogie. Like Boogie's got like stands on Twitter. Not a lot of dudes have
Oh
that.
yeah, he does. People still believe in him, and honestly, I mean, like you can't blame him. I mean, we know the injuries have like really taken a big toll in his
Yeah,
career, but the fact that he's still getting opportunities left and right shows something.
I honestly I should have taken the All Star break, even though I didn't want to watch much ball. I should have watched some old games. I want to check out that Rondo, Rudy Gay, Cousins team that we were talking about with Mark last week. I want to check out one of those games again. Those were fun.
Definitely need to do it. I
Rondo was
definitely
having
need
like
to.
20 assist games, man.
Oh yeah, those Sacramento days were super.
Yeah.
Oh my god, super impressive.
One
Rondo,
year.
Rudy Gay, Boogie. Oh my god,
I don't know who else they had. They may have had. Oh, they had Omri Caspi, I think, at that
Omri
point.
Caspi. Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't remember anybody else either.
Sacramento was 2015-16. God, that's so long ago. And that team, hey, 2015-16. Quincy Acey was their backup center. Marco Bellinelli,
Oh
Caron
my
Butler,
god,
Billy Cauley-Stein was there. Darren Collison, Seth Curry. Holy shit, these are old people that we know.
Seth Curry was there.
Seth Curry, that's where he started. That's where he was like bouncing between the G League and the active
Oh,
roster.
okay, yeah.
And he was like just starting to put in like big scoring games. And then eventually he got traded to a better situation, then a better situation, the best situation apparently on the Mavs, but even better in Philly, and then the best in Brooklyn. And he's just been a great player. But Sacramento was where it started. He was playing like solid, not as well as he's playing now, obviously. Omri Caspi was hitting threes. Crum Butler was he was at some point still a good role player. I don't know if that's fell into it. Marco Bellinelli was shooting threes. Costa Kufis is what I was thinking of. Oh, and they just drafted Ben McLemore. That sucks.
That's right.
That was the lottery pick. Dang, if they had nailed the lottery pick, should we see? Fuck it. You want to see who was in that draft?
Yeah, let's do it. What year was that? 2013, 14?
2013.
Okay.
So he went number 7, and they could have gotten.
Who was number 1 that year? Was it
this
was it Anthony Bennett?
Draft. This was the Giannis draft. So it's a bad draft. Yeah, it's Anthony Bennett. But at 7, so they could have gotten CJ McCollum at 10 instead, which would have been great. KCP is whatever. Trey Burke is whatever. MCW is whatever. Steven Adams, who's good, but it wouldn't have fit on the team. Kelly Olynyk, I guess.
Remember, like KCP was like a big thing coming into the draft.
And he was actually, those early Detroit years, he got treated like a number 1 option, and he was scoring like 20 a game. It wasn't like terrible efficiency either.
Exactly.
And then Giannis, I don't blame anyone for not drafting Giannis, but I'm glad none of you bitches did. I'll tell you that much. And that's
look how it worked out.
In all fairness, I can't really fault the Kings for botching this trade because this draft is kind of dog shit. Even the people that they missed out on, Nerlens Noel, who wouldn't have fit in.
I think he had an ACL tear as well around that time.
Yeah. It was that he was out for his first year. It was the Philly curse. Alex Len, who's nothing more than a backup center. Cody Zeller, who's fine.
Dog shit front office around that time. They drafted Nerlens 2013. I think the following year they drafted Embiid, which Embiid missed like his first 2 years. I mean, it's worked out now, but you know back then it was. Oh my god! And then 15, they drafted Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah. That was not awesome. Cody Zeller for Charlotte, who's a starting center. Like he was a starting center for a long time, which is something. You know, that's probably a top 10 pick. Otto Porter, who a solid role player, and then Oladipo, who's probably his peak is probably the second best in this draft. That's how bad this draft is.
Yeah, 2013. Now that we look at it,
And it's going to be no one good and like a top 10 player of all time. What the fuck is that kind of draft, man? That's literally the diamond in the rough. They're going to write legend about it. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Dre, any last thoughts? Anything else you want to say?
Check out the Hoop Truthers, man. Live on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever you name it, man. Live on all streaming platforms.
All of it. It's going to be on. Oh, it's going to be what? It's going to be in all of it. I promise. Thank you for tuning in. Weekly episodes every Monday now. The Hoop Truth is out there. I'm going to change it. It is out there. We're finding it. We're trying. How corny is it? Do you like it? I like it.
It's fine. I love it.